One, two, three. Hey folks, Brad here again. Kind of delayed making this video. Kind of lost my video mojo, I guess. Kind of struggling to do something a little more exciting than just my talking head. So here I'm going to start with my talking head. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. This is my first real video on the Model 3, and everyone should do a first impressions video. And I'm going to do mine, obviously, about coming to this car from my amazingly awesome and sadly missed 2018 Honda Clarity. So stick around if you're interested in that. Thanks. So as I say, I do miss my beautiful, awesome 2018 Honda Clarity Touring I owned for 3.5 years. It served as an excellent proof of concept to see if I could really handle a transition to a fully electric car for my lifestyle. And frankly, in my 2,600 kilometers of mostly in the city, it's been a no-brainer because I happen to have 32 and 50 amp charging in my own garage, thanks to the people who lived there before me. So if I ever want to do any arc welding, I can do that too. But the Honda was everything you'd expect in what I would call a mid-level luxury sedan built by anyone, but certainly the Asians. It was a lovely car. It was comfortable and quiet and smooth and all of those things you'd expect from a car like that. The leather was really nice. The interior was very well thought out in typical Honda. It was easy to drive, as in to, just open the door, sit down, push the button, and off you go. The controls were light. The steering, like I say, was very light. You could kind of sit like I often do with my knee up and my wrist resting on my knee and a couple of fingers on the steering wheel when I'm just putzing around like I am now. It was easy to get in and out of. It's a sedan, not an SUV. I have elderly parents, so my dad, for example, who's 6'2" like myself, could get himself in and out. Again, it was everything you'd expect from a mid-level car like that. And obviously reliable as the day is long and cheap as heck to run because, as I will do a final video on that, I pretty much managed to do bang on 75% of my 93,000 kilometers I put on that car on full EV, hence the proof of concept. Anyway, over to this car now. So this car, I bought the Model 3 Performance with the uprated interior because this is the car I always tell my kids, just bury me in it, because this is my 20-year car. I want to really keep this car for as long as possible to really just prove that out. So hey, if you're into a 20-year subscription to my YouTube channel, I'll send you a gift at the end of 20 years. But that's my plan for this car. Same way as the other car I really wanted to keep for a long time, just really to prove it out. This just happened to kind of come up at the time. So definitely these cars are different. And first impressions are different. The Honda, as I say, was classically and more traditionally luxurious. This car is, I would say, every bit as luxurious, but definitely in a modern sense, especially the stark white interior, which I think really brightens up the interior, mind you. I really like that. Black is nice, but I'll take the white because I want it to be, again, a little more airy. I've already had my first spill in it because I do have 3 kids, so that has also occurred, and it's just as easy as all the videos you've seen for wiping up. Now, it was just like a soft drink, so it wasn't terrible, but kids are kids and orange ones can be bad, so it wiped up no problem, which is great. As far as the controls and things like that, everything is very different. Again, not having even a key, you just use your phone and you plunk it down and away you go. That is also interesting because when you get out of the car, your music is still playing. It dims a little bit, the volume dims rather, and you get out and close the door, and then as you walk away, it beeps at you, it folds the mirror, and there it's locked. So that does take a little getting used to. I think it's a kind of a cool party trick, mind you. But back to the more practical sides of things. The steering wheel, for example, is covered in I'm sure it's a vegan leather, but it really just feels like rubber, which is not a bad thing. It's a smaller diameter. It fits well in your hand. It's ergonomically shaped. The Honda was too, but it fits in your hands really well. And running at 9 and 3, you could kind of do that all day long, just like in the Clarity. Again, it feels more like rubber, but it's still nice. It's a nice thing to hold on to. And of course, it's infinitely adjustable, which is a huge plus because while I'm 6'2", I'm kind of put together funny. I have all my heights in my back, and I have arms that I could tie your shoes while we're walking down the street together. So a little bit of adjustability helps me in that regard. Plus, I've got a ton of headroom for a car, of any car, frankly. That's usually not a thing that I have a lot of. Even in the back, which I'll get to later. But as far as that, it's a little lower. You sit more in this car than on the car, rather, and that's a silly thing to say, but it really kind of sums up my experience. You know, this car kind of wraps around you. You kind of got to slunk a little lower when you get in. Case in point, my father, as I mentioned before, he does have to you know, takes him a little longer to get in, a little longer to get out. He kind of grunts a little more, just because I think it's that extra 2.5 or 3 inches lower that a man of his size and his age, unfortunately, has to deal with. But again, nothing untoward. I mean, all sedans he would have that trouble with that were even reasonably sporty. And this is the man who just recently sold his M4 Cabriolet, so he can handle it. Anyway, other things, again, the controls are kind of take some getting used to. I do actually really love the big screen because everything is one click away. I thought the wipers and the headlight would drive me crazy, but the wipers are, you know, you push the button once, the thing goes once, you push it and hold it, and then all the washer fluid comes out, which if you've seen my other videos, thank God this one has excellent wipers for tall people and has a huge reservoir for fluid, so you're not filling it every 10 seconds. Anyone who lives in a northern climate where you get lots of snow and slush, that was actually a big challenge. It was pretty funny. I would get 4 fills out of one little jug of washer fluid in the Clarity. Again, it's just the way that car was. If you live anywhere that's not a problem, or that you don't have that, it's clearly not a problem. I just thought it was a funny thing to mention from an ergonomic standpoint. Otherwise, you know, the Clarity, the seats heated up well. The heat itself was very quick because that car had an element in the heater core, like the coolant flow, I guess, which would heat that up quicker because if the gas motor's not on, it wouldn't need it, and then off you go. This car is faster in every way. It heats up faster from the air blowing on you, and the seat heater and the heated steering wheel, which is awesome, are really fast. And of course, you can do that all from your phone. The Clarity you could too. You could precondition the interior, which was great. Believe me, when you were parking outside and it was minus 30 outside, that was the best thing, to open the door, get this waft of nice hot air at you. But you couldn't heat the seats or the steering wheel, unfortunately. So that's, you know, that is something I certainly appreciate and have appreciated coming out of the cold snap that we've all just kind of recently gone through. But otherwise, I was frankly, given Tesla's quality, I was expecting a little more road noise, a little more wind noise, for example, and some quality issues. But I have to say the only quality issue I've come across is there's one, like this piece here on the other side, is just popped down a little. Like it just needs to be bumped up once more, and I can't believe, frankly, after 2,600 kilometers, I haven't done that already. But this car is as quiet initial impressions as the Clarity was when running on full EV. Now that car came with the high efficiency tires. This car didn't, and frankly it's got really aggressive winter tires on it right now, which you can probably hear some rumble. But I find the interior very quiet, and the wind noise and the kind of hollow feeling that plagued some earlier Model 3s, I just don't feel. Other folks that have been in my car that spent lots of time in the Clarity also felt that this car feels even quieter. So, which is funny because I knew I was buying one. So about a year ago, I bought there's a thing for these, the glass, which is apparently supposed to cut about 3 or 4 dB out of your highway noise. I haven't put that in, but I bought it like a year ago because, you know, I'm going to buy a Model 3. I bought a dB meter as well. I'm actually going to do a before and after on that because I am curious. But right now I don't really feel it needs it. If I didn't have it already, I probably wouldn't buy it. Same with there's like a weather stripping kit made specifically for the Model 3. I also bought that. Again, I better have bought one, otherwise I couldn't send it back now. But I'm going to put that in too, again, just to see. But otherwise, I find this car very solid, very well put together, and very quiet. Again, you have really loud rumbling winter tires on 20-inch rims, that you can hear that. And frankly, I noticed that the microphone is picking up some rumbling that I'm not hearing in the cabin, and it must be just the way that the camera's mounted, or my $6 furry microphone here. So apologies for that. I'll do what I can in post, as they call it. But other initial feelings about this car, it feels solid. The front suspension, like all the components, like the clarity was great, don't get me wrong, but I would hear a little rattle here and there, just a little clunk. Nothing was broken, I didn't hit anything, even driving through all the snow like you've seen in my other videos. But this car, everything just feels snubbed right down. You know, this car was built the 15th of December of 2021. It arrived in my city like the 29th of December, and I bought it the 30th, actually, just as with respect to my last video. So it's a very late, well, it's actually technically it's an early 2022 model. So I don't know, again, you know, Tesla doesn't really release model years, they just release updates as they have them. This one has the heated steering wheel, for example, which was something I was waiting for. But it just feels really solid. The doors, you know, you close them, they don't feel quite as that nice solid I don't know what the word is, but you know, the clarity. It had a framed window, obviously, so that whole door would just felt a little more solid. A frameless window, which is a frameless door rather, which is what these have, will tend to feel that way. I'm going to see what that's like after I put in the weather stripping. You know, I'm curious to see what that will do there. But from an ease of use, an everyday car, once you kind of get used to where things are, like opening the glove box, you have to push a button on the screen. It's a two-touch affair, unless you do the voice activated, which is hilarious and awesome all at the same time. But this car is so easy to get in and drive. It's just so easy to plunk in. You know, you set it up to remember which driver is which, and when I get in, it readjusts to me because I have the easy entry and exit. So when I shut the car off, the seat moves back a little and up, frankly, just a little to get my butt out of the car. But it's just, you get in, you push go, the cameras are everywhere. It's going to warn you if you're going to crunch into somebody. I haven't even gotten into the full self-drive, which is hilarious to watch that on the screen. This is a really great car. So you hate to boil down an entire initial impression video into like a handful of words, but absolutely this is a great purchase. I do not regret it at all. It's mine in 60 easy payments. We'll see. I'm hoping for a little some of my bonuses from work will go and knock that down a little, but it's a great purchase. It's excruciatingly cheap to run. I pay delivered to me now about 17 cents a kilowatt hour, and a chunk of that has to do with the fact that I chose the 100% green option. It'd be cheaper if I didn't, but I wanted to do that. Again, this is a lifetime kind of commitment, or 20-year commitment to reducing my footprint there, and just, you know, there'll be solar in my future as well. I just really wanted to minimize my impact there as best I could with a couple of check boxes and a few extra dollars a month. It's not insignificant, but it's I think a good step in the right direction. I love all the party tricks with this thing. I'll if you're not interested in some of the hilarity about this car, you can stop right now, and I thank you for your attention. But you can add any horn sound you want that you can put on an MP3 and put in. You can play music through the big megaphone out front if you want. It's got a light mode. It's got a cowbell mode, which is hilarious. I do that to annoy my teenage daughters all day long, which is totally worth it. And yeah, the rear seats are hot, heat up really quick too. There's even heated. The middle seat is heated. There's a fan dedicated just for the rear air right underneath the center console. That's another thing I'll mention. The center console, the clarity was great with that flying bridge thing, but everything underneath that, like my kids would stuff their lip balm and their phones and charge cords and all of that stuff, which was fine. It was out of view for the most part. But this thing, everything's got a cubby, and you can close the cubby, so that everything seems very clean and neat while you're driving this car. Nothing's going to fall into your lap. Even when your phone is on the charging pads on the bottom here. It doesn't slide around. You know, this car is the performance model, so I'm going to make really good use of the quartering ability and the braking and the acceleration, which is still hilarious. And it all just kind of stays where it's supposed to. So yeah, this thing was not inexpensive. I'm not going to lie, especially in Canadian dollars, it was not inexpensive. But again, I've already saved, you know, you could argue a few $100s in fuel maybe. You know, I've obviously saved the cost of one oil change, because I would be frankly about halfway through to my second one. Now, you would do them every 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers, and the first one you do after 1,000, of course. So yeah, I'm already benefiting, realizing the benefits of that. Charging at home makes it very easy. Where I live is not particularly EV focused, so you know, taking trips and things like that would be a challenge. But realistically, if I were to sum it up in a handful of words, this thing is great. I look forward to it. There's no buyer's remorse here at all. There's always the challenge of watching the check go out of your account every month, but that's that's par for the course, right? I have no regrets. This thing's great. I look forward to many, many, many quiet and hilariously fast kilometers in this car. That's easy to keep clean, easy to drive, excruciatingly easy to live with, and as spacious as I could need with myself and my 3 not so little kids. So anyway, folks, a long talking head video. I will have interspersed this hopefully with a bunch of other videos specific to the things I was talking about, and I look forward to chatting with you all in the future with other videos on their way. So thank you very much. I wish you all the best.